Next pop-up will be single raise pop-up SPFR. We will start with the in position SPFR. We have raise opens for every position. If you hover over it, you will see their opening range, but also you can see that when you hover over raised one on your HUD. So we have their CBET strategies, CBET for flop, turn, and river. When we hover over the number, we will see their CBET range on the flop. We can see which sizes they're using. Their CBETs, when you hover over it, you will see the hands they're using with that size. We have the same things for turn on the river. So on the river, you will see their triple barreling range. They will see distribution of the range to see how much they bluff, which type of hands they are bluffing with, and which size they are using it. I would recommend you to always check this type of the stats for the river, because in today games overbetting is really popular. So when you go over here, you can see their triple barreling stats, and when you click on overbet, when you hover over overbet, you can see which type of the hands they have in the triple barrel overbet range. And I would always recommend you to check how much of 2 pair plus are in this range and compare it with other size, because in today games overbetting is a normal thing and players will have a hard time to balance their overbet range with their normal range. So you always go, for example, into the smaller size to see if they put also strong hands in the other sizes. Okay, you also have here how a player is playing against a hero. Also really nice to know, do they change their strategy when they're playing against you. You see here sizes and board structures. Also we have 3 flush hits and 3 flush misses, so we're gonna know how player plays when there was a flush draw on a flop and a flush hit on the turn. You will see their double barrel range in that spot. You will see the sizes that they are using when the flush hit and which hands they are used with that size. Really nice thing to know, to see how they change the distribution of the range when the flush hit it, and also that for the river. For example, when the flush got on the river, you want to know their betting range in that spot. You want to know, are they betting thin enough, are they bluffing a lot in that spot, and how much thin they are betting it, and which sizes they are using. Okay, then you have how they play their delay range. You see that this player is c-betting 66% of the time, and then you want to know what is his delayed strategy. You hover over here and you will see with which type of hands he's delay c-betting, the distribution of his hands. And I always recommend you to, if you have time to do, just quickly check on the hands. I have a lot of sample on myself because I played 176k hands on PokerStars, and there's a lot of sample, but generally you will not have that many sample, and you will have the time to always check the context of the hand, just to have better understand for the strategy that your opponent is using. So you will have how they play delay range, how much they delay and fold to a check raise, that usually indicates the strength of their delay range, and delay and bet river stats. A lot of players are lacking bluffs in that spot, so you want to take time and check out their range. You see the distribution of their bluffs, how much they bluff, which sizes they're using when they're bluffing, and it's pretty easy to do it, and I always recommend you to do it, because you can have really good information here. Then we have how they play against the raise. This player is c-betting and falling to a check raise 36% of the time on the flop, on the turn 32, and on the river 36. Here also really nice stat is c-bet and 3-bet to a check raise. You see that this player has c-betting and a 3-betting to check raise 13%. You want to know if they are having a bluffs in this range, which type of bluffs they're using. You see here this guy c-bet on the king 9 jack with 7-10, so he has double gut shot, and the player has raised him. He's small size and he 3-bet flop as a bluff. Nice hand to do it. You're not blocking flush draws, you're blocking a straight, and this player, when he's check raising, he's mostly wrapping a straight because he shouldn't have a lot of sets in the range. Will probably 3-bet nines, jacks and kings. So pretty nice stats to know, is a player capable of bluffing with this line, because a lot of players are also not bluffing enough as a 3-bet to a check raise, and also you have that for the turn and the river. Then you see when the player is c-betting and calling a check raise, how much he folds on the turn, and how much he's folding when he's calling in turn, how much he folds also on the river. So these are pretty useful information to know your opponent's strategy. For example, there's a lot of players in my pool that are c-betting a lot, not folding a lot on a check raise, and on the turn some of them fold a lot, but some of them are still sticky, and I see a lot of them like calling also a turn and folding to a river like 70%. So you want to identify those players, and when you are check raising against them, you just need to go you just need to like go hard on the river, because if they're sticky and they will call you with like weaker hands even on the turn, you just need to go against them on the river, put them in the really hard spot. A really nice thing also here that I like is call check raise bet turn and call check raise check turn. So this player has c-betted, you have check raised him, and he called, and you got on the turn, and you want to know what will this player do on the turn. For example, this player so called a check raise, and he's on the turn, and you can see which type of hands he will bet on the turn. There are many type of players, and you want to know what they are doing in that spot. For example, some of the players will call check raise. They will c-bet like middle pairs, weak pairs, like floats, like overcards and stuff like that. And when you check to them, they will bet like middle pair for, I don't know, protection or stuff like that. They will play like weak pair, and you want to identify those players. So against this type of players, you need to go here and see call check raise check turn. You want to know what they are checking behind with. Do they have a lot of top pairs in check behind range? When they're called check raise and on the turn, will they like check raise ever value hand or hands like top pairs plus? Then you will also want to know will they easy bet for protection, because I see a lot of players call a check raise with like middle pair, like on 2-5 jack they call like eights, and the turn is 3 and you check them and they bet that eights on the turn. You want to identify those players, and you want immediately to know what they are doing. So always check which sizes they are using, and also check their distribution when they have called a check raise, the distribution of their betting range on turn. Always look for like low pairs, middle pairs, drop like this medium strength of their range, and if they are betting a lot of this type of hands for protection, I would advise you to also have a check raise, check and check raise on the turn range. So double check raise range. That's why I put it these stats, so you will know their strategy, because a lot of players play this differently. Some of them stab a lot of for protection, they stab a lot of with their floats, and other players are like checking top pairs. They call it check raise, like you jack 2-5, the turn is like 7, and they are checking like king jack, queen jack. So immediately you have two stats here. You have stats that are saying how much they bet turn and check turn. Just check the both stats to know their strategy in that spot. And then we have how they play against the stab. Uh, Pretty standard things, so I won't talk much about that. I'll just now go to the out of position. This is in position. Just to quickly cover also that. Also PFR opens. Then we have CB strategy. So basically it's a lot similar like in position, and what I want to say here for me it's also important to see their check ranges. So when they're out of position, they had opened, and they're checking the flop. This player is check folding on the flop 39%, which is good number, and you want to know how their check raise range looks like when they have checked the flop as PFR. You have that information here. You see the distribution of the hands that they are check raising as PFRs. Then you have their check call range also. I think it's important here to go and see their check call range. For example, do they have a lot of top pair plus region here? That's important because that's telling us their strength of their checking range, and that are the hands that can take hit on turn and the river. And also we want to know their like overcard hands. Do they have a lot of flush draws in the old draw, or some other type of draws in the check call range? That's also really important to know, because you can then choose your strategies for the turn and the river. Then you also have here check call range on the turn. He's not check folding turn also much, and when you go here you will see their check call range on the turn, and then also we'll see a check raising range on the turn and check raising range on the river. Here you have some standard lines, how they play this type of lines. For example, bet check bet line. Out of position, also this is the line that the players are lacking a lot of bluffs in, so you always go here to see. This is 51% bet check bet line, and you want to know the distribution of the range in that spot. Here we also have C bet check call check fold, pretty useful line to know, because I said that for 3-bet pots, if the players are c-betting wide with wider range, and they're on the turn with wider range, they're check calling the like medium part of the range and the weak part of the range, then they will have a hard time on the river. So you want to identify those players, and you want to attack their range on the river, because they will check call you on the turn widely, but they will have weaker range on the river, and you want to take advantage of that and see how much they fold that line and apply maximum pressure in that spot. Okay, we have covered out of position, in position, and we can go to the next pop-up.